Hastings, for being here to support us today. I brought along a little prop to show you today. This is something I was given yesterday from a manufacturing company just round the corner from here called Plastipack. And Plastipack makes open water covers, mostly swimming pools, but also water tankers. They're a new business in Hastings. They've only been going for a few years. It's quite a technical business making these things. You want my prop for me now?
I certainly will.
Thank you so much. It's quite a technical business making these things. And they have an arrangement with the University of Surrey whereby physics students come over and work with them. It's a major manufacturing enterprise. And they've got these machines working 24 hours a day, such as their demand they've got for doing these swimming pool covers. Some of them attract heat, some of them deflect heat, depending where they're going. Point is, 75% of their exports are to the EU. And they say to me, sure, we understand that there are a lot of regulations in the EU, and some of them are a bore to deal with. But how are we to grow our business if we are not in the single market? How are we to have that opportunity of really expanding if we can't access those 500 million people who are in the rest of the EU? It makes a huge difference to us being in the EU, and they're going to continue to expand. They now employ 35 people, a lot of them really good, interesting jobs, graduate level jobs that people really want to participate in because of that access to the EU. And if they didn't have that access, I did ask him to think about it, he just pulled a really very worried face. And in this area, we have about 8% of our employment is in that sort of small company manufacturing. Now, a lot of people who are against us staying in the EU, they hear the CBI, they hear the OECD, they even hear the IMF, and they sort of sneer at it saying, yes, but those aren't the small businesses. And I would urge you to talk to those small businesses, because that's what I've been doing, particularly the manufacturing small businesses. And they are very clear that their access to the EU is the opportunity they need to grow those businesses. So don't listen to the people who say it's not important. We know how it's important, and we know how important it is because we're talking to the businesses. Last week we heard from Ryanair, as one of the airlines, who was telling us that they've been able to keep prices down for our flights by staying in the EU. And just behind you here in this further education college, I think on the 4th floor, there's a training facility for people who want to be air steward or air stewardesses. And it has one of the biggest, most successful employment records of any of the education courses here. Because it is about cheap flights, that opportunity with Ryanair and other airlines, but it's also about great jobs. And sometimes when we all talk about the strength of the economy that has access to the 500 million people in the EU, we forget the economy can be a bit of a dry word. And the fact is, it's about jobs. It's about opportunities for people in our families. It's about getting a good education and then knowing that other companies have come into the UK, they're using it often as a springboard, and the people in this country, this constituency, and in the southeast in general will be able to get good jobs. Because the southeast is really an engine room for the economy. We've seen record levels of employment growing year on year. We're now at record levels in the UK, and particularly in the southeast, and I hope it's going to continue. But to be sure it's going to continue, we need to stay in the EU. We get that stronger economy. Second reason is because we do have influence in the EU. Don't listen to the people who say we're just one of 27. We are not. We are one of the most influential members there. I know, I've been there, I talk to our counterparts, and they want us to participate, and we want to be part of making the change and the influence within the EU. The Prime Minister has shown that we can make those changes. When he went to do his renegotiations, he came back with a number of changes. But I think the one that matters most to the economy is about competition. Competition and deregulation is now almost counterintuitively, people think, part of what the EU is trying to achieve. We're seeing much less regulation coming out of the EU. This is a big change and one we can build on. So it's about the economy. It's about the influence that we can have. And the third reason for staying in the EU has to be about looking at the alternatives. Now, when we think about major changes in our lives, if you're thinking about moving house or something really important, we all measure it up. We think, now, this is what I've got. What's it going to look like if we move to something else? Well, we all know that if we look around, we don't know what that alternative is. If you listen to the levers, it might be Canada, it might be Norway, apparently it might be Albania. Nobody knows. And that is a risk. And it's a risk which we have to look over the abyss and consider. But to think about doing that without knowing what the alternative is would just be completely reckless and unwelcome. So in the southeast, it seems incredibly clear to me that we're better off in. In the southeast, we have fantastic attractions that people from all over the world and from all over the EU want to come and enjoy. And I want the people coming from the EU to be able to travel here visa-free. I want us to be able to travel there visa-free. But when they come over here, they help boost our economy. From Winchester to Oxford to Canterbury in the southeast, we have these fantastic cathedral cities, great opportunities. And we welcome foreigners coming from the EU, coming here to spend their money and binding us closer with them. In Hastings this year, we're celebrating the 950th year since 1066. It's taken us a while, but we've forgiven the French. And we even hope the French ambassador might come down and celebrate with us, because we have strong friendships with other EU countries. Those friendships create a stronger economy, they create a safer world, and I am proud that this country is a leading part of the EU, and we will be leaning in even further into the EU once we vote to stay in, so that we can continue to show leadership and we can as a country be part of an EU where we are all stronger, safer and better off. Thank you very much.